In my 5 years as Dr. Jocelyn, I've had countless conversations with men who come into my office stressed, anxious, losing sleep, and when we dig into what's really going on, there's often a nagging question in the back of their mind. Is something wrong in my relationship? Now, I'm a doctor, not a relationship counselor, but here's what I know for certain. Chronic relationship stress is killing men's health. The worry, the sleepless nights, the constant anxiety, it raises your cortisol, spikes your blood pressure, weakens your immune system, and even affects your heart. So today, I want to talk about something uncomfortable but important, the signs that emotional distance is growing in your relationship. Not to make you paranoid, but to help you recognize patterns early so you can either address them through honest conversation or protect your peace and walk away with dignity. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And if this resonates, hit that like button. It helps me reach more men who need this conversation. Here's something most people don't talk about. Emotional disconnection doesn't happen overnight. It's gradual, it's subtle. And by the time most men notice, the gap has already widened significantly. Now, let me be clear, these signs don't automatically mean infidelity. Sometimes they signal stress at work, personal struggles, or unresolved issues in the relationship. But they always signal that something has shifted, and ignoring these shifts is what leads to chronic emotional stress, which, as a doctor, I can tell you is just as damaging as physical illness. So let's talk about 6 clear signs that emotional distance is growing. If you see multiple patterns here, it's time for an honest conversation, not accusations, but genuine connection. Sign 1, her anger has completely shifted. This one's nuanced, so pay attention. If she used to get annoyed with you over small things, how you drive, how you leave dishes, whatever, and suddenly she doesn't care anymore, that's not peace, that's emotional detachment. On the flip side, if she was typically calm and suddenly everything you do irritates her, that's also a red flag. Either way, the shift is what matters. Here's what's happening biologically. When someone is emotionally invested, they react. They care enough to express frustration because they want things to improve. But when emotional investment drops, so does the energy to engage even in conflict. From a health perspective, this creates confusion and anxiety in you. You're walking on eggshells, never knowing which version of her you'll get. That chronic uncertainty keeps your stress hormones elevated, disrupts your sleep, and wears you down emotionally. What to watch for? Look for the change in her baseline. If her typical pattern of expressing emotions has drastically shifted, whether she's suddenly indifferent or suddenly explosive, something deeper is going on. Sign 2. Communication has dropped significantly. When a woman is emotionally connected, she wants to communicate. She asks about your day. She shares hers. She talks about feelings, plans, little things that happened. But when emotional distance grows, that communication dries up. She's not texting as much. She doesn't share work stories. She gives short, surface-level answers. And when you try to engage, it feels like you're pulling teeth. Here's the biological reality. Communication releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. When someone stops wanting to bond with you, they naturally reduce communication. It's not always conscious. It's just that the drive to connect has shifted elsewhere or has simply faded. From a health standpoint, this lack of connection increases feelings of isolation and loneliness, which are linked to depression, anxiety, and even cardiovascular disease. You're living with someone but feeling completely alone, and that emotional isolation takes a real toll. What to watch for? If she used to share freely and now barely engages in conversation, that's a sign the emotional connection is weakening. Sign 3. The laughter and lightness are gone. Humor and playfulness are signs of emotional safety and connection. When a woman feels close to you, she jokes with you. She laughs at your humor. She teases you affectionately. But when emotional distance grows, the lightness disappears. Your jokes don't land anymore. She's not playful. There's no teasing, no silly moments, no shared laughter. Everything feels heavy and transactional. Here's what's happening emotionally. Laughter and play require vulnerability. When someone is pulling away emotionally, they withdraw that vulnerability. They're protecting themselves from deeper connection. Biologically, laughter reduces stress hormones and increases endorphins. When that's missing from your relationship, both of you suffer, but you especially feel it because you're left wondering what changed. What to watch for? If the fun, lighthearted connection you once had has completely evaporated, it's a sign she's emotionally disengaging. Sign 4. physical affection has drastically reduced. This one's straightforward but painful. If she stopped initiating affection, whether that's hand-holding, cuddling, or intimacy, and she's rejecting your advances more often, that's a clear sign of emotional distance. Physical connection is deeply tied to emotional connection. When a woman feels close to you, she wants physical closeness. When that emotional bond weakens, the physical closeness follows. From a health perspective, this creates a cycle of rejection that impacts your self-esteem, increases feelings of inadequacy, and keeps your stress levels elevated. You start questioning yourself. Am I not attractive anymore? Did I do something wrong? But often, it's not about you at all. It's about her internal shift, whether she's pulling away emotionally because of unresolved issues, outside stress, or interest elsewhere. What to watch for: a significant drop in physical affection and intimacy, especially if she seems fine in every other area of her life. Sign 5. She stops asking about you. When someone cares about you, they ask questions. They want to know how your day was, how that meeting went, how you're feeling about that thing with your family. But when emotional investment drops, those questions stop. You come home from work, and she doesn't ask how it went. You mention something stressful, and she barely responds. You share something you're excited about, and she nods distractedly. Here's the emotional truth. Curiosity is a sign of care. When someone stops being curious about your life, they've stopped emotionally investing in you. From a health standpoint, feeling invisible in your own relationship is incredibly damaging. It leads to loneliness, depression, and chronic stress. You're physically present but emotionally abandoned. What to watch for: if she used to engage with your life and now seems completely disinterested, that's a major sign of disconnection. Sign 6. She's emotionally checked out. This is the umbrella sign that covers everything else. She's stopped engaging emotionally altogether. She says, "I'm fine," when she's clearly not, but then doesn't give you a chance to pursue it. She doesn't start conversations. She doesn't share feelings. She doesn't react to things that used to matter. It's like living with a roommate, not a partner. Here's what's happening. When emotional connection is gone, people stop investing energy. They're not angry. They're not fighting. They're just done. And that quiet withdrawal is often more painful than any argument. From a health perspective, this is the most damaging pattern because it leaves you in limbo. You're not getting closure. You're not getting honesty. You're just living in a state of emotional uncertainty that keeps your nervous system on high alert. What to watch for: if she's going through the motions but there's no emotional presence behind it, the connection has already frayed. Gentlemen, I need you to understand something critical. Living in a state of constant relationship anxiety is devastating for your health. It raises cortisol, disrupts sleep, increases blood pressure, weakens your immune system, and puts you at higher risk for heart disease and stroke. Your body doesn't distinguish between physical threats and emotional threats. It just responds with stress. You deserve clarity, you deserve honesty, and you deserve a relationship where you're valued, seen, and emotionally connected. If you've noticed multiple signs from this list, here's what I want you to do. 1. Have an honest conversation. Not an accusation, not a confrontation, just honesty. "I've noticed we feel distant lately. Can we talk about what's going on?" 2. Listen without defensiveness. Sometimes these signs appear because of unresolved issues, stress, or unmet needs, not infidelity. 3. Set boundaries for yourself. If the conversation reveals disrespect, dishonesty, or emotional abandonment, protect your peace. You deserve better. 4. Prioritize your health. Regardless of what happens in the relationship, take care of yourself. Sleep, exercise, talk to someone you trust. Your well-being matters. If this video helped you see something clearly, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm here every week with content to help you live with health, dignity, and confidence. And I want to hear from you. Have you experienced any of these signs? How did you handle it? Drop your story in the comments. Remember, you deserve a relationship where you're valued, respected, and emotionally connected. If that's not what you have every right to protect your peace and walk away. I'm Dr. Jocelyn. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.